everybody, I'm Stacey J.
And I'm Chuck Duran.
Welcome to another episode of VO Buzz Weekly.
And we are so excited today. We have the awesome Beau Weaver on the show, and you guys are going to freak out, so hold on tight.
All right, but stand by because we have a really, really good tip of the week for you. Are you ready? The 10 essential elements that your commercial demo must have. Are you ready? Number 1. Acting skills. You have got to display in the first 5 seconds that you're a total pro and you can act. Don't assume that they're going to listen through the end of the demo to find your acting at the end. You got to act right out of the gate and carry it through all the way through.
Absolutely. Number 2, production quality. How do I say this in a nice way?
Just go for it.
If your demo sounds like crap, you sound like crap. And we don't want that to happen. Just keep this in mind. Professionals out there, they'll know in an instant if your demo was not professionally produced. So.
Yep. Number 3, signature and unique persona. This is your demo, so it needs to sound like you and reflect your personality. If you don't have a personality, you guys, it's time to get one. The holidays are coming.
Amazon.
eBay.
Number 4, variety of reads. Change it up a bit. Pitch, tone, energy, pace. Otherwise, your demo is going to be boring.
Number 5, variety of current styles. Listen to what's out there. The radio announcer, the negative, cutting, demeaning styles, not in. Here are some examples of what is. Remember, it has to be your personality, so some of these may not apply to you. You've got fun and playful, wry, dramatic, confident, sexy, conversational, friendly, energetic, hip and cool, quirky, intelligent.
Wow. That's a good list right there.
Yeah.
Number 6, types of spots. Avoid having more than one of the same kind of spots. Don't have 3 food spots. Don't have 3 car spots. One of each is enough. So, variety is the spice of life.
Yes, it is. Number 7, relevant content. The spots should be for products, services, and industries that are hot and in demand today. So do your research of what's in the marketplace and make sure you're really, really current.
Yep. Number 8, peaks and valleys. In those instances where a professional might listen to your entire demo, make sure it's entertaining the whole way through. Peaks and valleys. Keep it interesting.
Yeah. Number 9, direction. So important. The biggest actors in the world are directed by an industry professional, and so should you. You can focus on your performance and leave the direction to someone who knows what they're doing and can bring out your best.
That is so, so important. Number 10, real simple. Seal it with a kiss. Keep it short and sweet. And here's the rule of thumb. If you are soliciting work or an agent representation, keep your demo short, 60 seconds. That's all you need. If you have a website, which you should, then you can show off a little bit more, maybe a minute and a half, but never longer than a minute and a half, not today.
No. Remember, you can go to our blog, vobuzzweekly.com, click on the blog. We'll have all of our tips there, scroll through, and use them. They're good.
Absolutely.
Quick viewer email.
Oh, okay.
Quick viewer email. Quick. I promised Jenny.
Yeah. Okay, Jenny.
Okay, she says, just love my weekly buzz. You two are an absolute delight. Thank you for presenting such wonderful insights into the VO profession through all the guests you so deftly interview. Love the tips, too. Often have a little aha moment as I listen and watch. Carry on. Cheers.
Aha! Thanks, Jenny. That's really cool.
Thank you so much for watching.
I feel good. Those make me feel good.
I feel like it's time.
Uh-oh.
Here we come.
You ready?
Beau Weaver.
Here we go.
It is a privilege to have with us one of the busiest superheroes in the business. He is known as the voice of Superman in the Ruby Spears Superman series, for countless movie trailers like The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and The Vow, network promos for ABC, CBS, and History Channel, commercials, narration, radio imaging, and affiliates. He does it all, you guys. Jeez. It is so great to finally be able to welcome the wonderful and talented Beau Weaver.
Dude.
Happy birthday!
So wonderful to see you guys.
It's not his birthday, but hey, what the heck?
Well, my birthday's hidden on Facebook, so you're the only guy who's wished me happy birthday in a really long time.
There you go.
I've had a whole lot of them.
It's been
don't
due.
Need to do that anymore, you know.
It's good to, the more trips around the sun, I think, are great.
Absolutely,
it beats the alternative, so come on.
Youth is wasted on the young people.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's all I gotta say.
You guys don't know this, but you will now. Beau is the busiest guy on the planet.
Yeah.
You have no idea what we had to go through to get him here for you guys today.
That's exaggerated.
It's not exaggerated. He just got here because he's like in gigs all over the place.
No, it's just that I'm really slow. I take a really long time to do the ones that I have. So the illusion is that the schedule's all filled up.
Yes.
He's also a very modest guy.
He's very modest, which we love, which makes you even more.
But we're so excited to have you on the show. Thank you.
Well, this is fun. I've been watching this thing, and you know, I have seen a lot of people are doing podcasts related to our field, and I got to tell you, they all suck except for this one.
Oh, whoa! Hey,
wait a minute,
we love that.
Not suitable
How do
for
you
work
really
language?
feel, Beau?
sorry.
I'm not sure
No,
what you mean.
No, but this is a really cool
Thank you, man.
It's a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed watching this thing. And some of the ones I've seen are like dental surgery with no anesthesia. So
it's funny because we were at a party this past weekend, and Mark Grouse said the same thing.
Yeah, he did.
So,
yeah. Well,
hey,
thank
right
you.
on.
Coming from you, that means a lot.
Absolutely,
So thank
man.
you. And you actually, our viewers have been asking, when are you going to have Beau? So I'm so glad we could finally get this to work out. So thank you. We know how busy you are. It's nighttime right now, and Beau's had a long day, so thank you.
I get up early to go walk my dog, so
Yes.
I may nod out here a little bit. So
We'll
just poke me.
Okay.
Well, listen, let's get right into it, man. I know that probably nobody's ever asked you something like this before, but I love knowing this stuff, and Stacy and they do too, because everybody has their own story. How did Beau get started in this awesome business?
Well, you know, my first love was radio. I went to a concert when I was probably about 12, and it was one of those Dick Clark cavalcade of stars with a whole bunch of singles artists on a stage in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And there was a guy named Robert Walker who was a disc jockey on the local station. He was a star. He was the only guy in town with long hair, and he had a television show, and he was a big star. And he walked out to the center of the stage. The follow spot comes out, and he picks up the microphone and says, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Robert Walker from KAKC." And the place went wild, and the women screamed. And
That's why you got in.
they appeared to be throwing panties. Now, I mean, you know, just like in Las Vegas at a Tom Jones show or something, you know?
Yeah.
And in that moment, I said, that looks like a good job to have.
I want panties thrown at me.
And so radio became my obsession.
Yeah.
And the Beatles happened, and I wanted to learn to play the guitar. But there was a kid on my block who was 6 years old, and he was also already, I mean, he was like Clapton. And I thought, it's too late. I'm too old. I'm too old. So this was the next best thing. So radio was my first love, and I lied my way into a radio job when I was 15 years old. I got the FCC license that was required back then, and I got this job and progressed to big stations and just had a lot of lucky breaks. And I ended up out here in Los Angeles at the #1 station in LA back in the mid-70s, which was KHJ, and you know, that was kind of the top of the line. And one night I came into the station late, and back then we had engineers who ran all the equipment. We couldn't touch anything. If you wanted your microphone to go on, you point to yourself like this. To start the next song, you gave the engineer a hand cue like this. You want your level to go up, you want your music level to go down. You know, it was like directing. But you couldn't touch anything or you would be fined. And
Fined?
It was a serious deal.
Wow.
So I went into the station, and there was a light on in a production studio where there shouldn't have been anyone, and I poked my head in, and Dave Sebastian Williams, who is of Dave and Dave Studios, who runs everythingvo.com.
Awesome dude.
Great guy. You know, been around the business for a long time. Dave was also on the air staff at KHJ at the time, and he was in the studio touching the equipment. And I said, "Dave, what are you doing, man? You're going to get in big trouble."
Dave Wood.
He said, "Shh, close the door."
That does sound like Dave.
And what are you doing, man? And he was making copies of something on little reels of tape. And I said, "What is that?" And he says, "It's my my voiceover demo." And I said, "Voiceover demo? What's that?"
What's that?
And he said, and he turned it up. And I said, "Dave, that's just a bunch of commercials." He said, "Beau, don't you realize this is the real business? What we do on the air is just filler. this is the thing. Really? And so he explained to me the kind of money some guys were making doing this work. And my jaw dropped, and I said,
count me in.
I gotta get one of those.
Yeah.
I gotta get one of those.
You know, and he said, well, here's the thing. They don't like radio guys. I said, what do you mean? We're on the top station in the country. He said, they don't like us. They think we have a sound, you know, a radio accent, if you will.
Yeah, a radio accent.
And they don't like it. He said, but there's a treatment for that. And he said, I'm actually
Vodka.
Well, that worked for a while.
Happy hour.
There was a workshop held by the late Joan Gerber, who was the first superstar, the first female superstar in our business.
Yeah.
She passed away just this summer. And Joan had a workshop in her living room. And Dave said, I'm going and I'll take you. So he took me. And I'm telling you, my life changed.
That was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
She had a copy stand in her living room, and the first thing that actors did was come up and read just a cold reading exercise.
Sure.
And so here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, hey, I'm going to nail this. I mean, I'm on the top radio station in the country. I've been doing this since I was 15. I totally have this. So I went up, and they said, slate your name, read the copy. Yeah. So I slated my name. Joan whirled around and went, disc jockey, right? Disc jockey, am I right?
Radio accent.
I can smell you guys a mile away.
Oh.
And I got to tell you, that's a bit of a weenie shrinker right there. You know?
Yeah.
But for some reason, I was not stopped, and I was intrigued. What I got was, there is an approach to performing commercials that is different from what I know how to do. There is an actor's approach as opposed to the announcer's approach.
Exactly.
Yes.
And this was a brand new concept to me. And so I started going to her workshop and to 3 others, you know. And from then on, that was my focus. So thanks Dave, for
wow,
forever changing my
He's still
life.
going strong too.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
It was Dave's cheating. No, I'm just kidding. Dave's awesome. So that's really cool, man. So that's the demo side of it, and that's how that started.
Yeah.
Cool. So Dave Sebastian Williams, right, showed you how to make a demo.
Completely changed my life.
Completely changed your life. You got some instruction.
Well, that was my focus for the next several years, and I started doing commercials. I moved around in radio a little bit, but still my focus was doing voiceover work. And cut to 1981, I'm in Denver, and 3 guys who I shared an agent with, or 2 other guys, we all had the same agent, ended up being the voices of 3 television stations in Denver. And Roger Thompson and Ed O'Brien. And we had very different styles. And the idea came to us that we could perhaps sell ourselves doing television promos to other stations in other markets where we did not actually reside. Now, that sounds like old hat to you right now, but it was a completely new concept. No one was doing that.
Right.
Now, Charlie Van Dyke had done some television news intros for stations around the country, but this was a brand new idea, and it was made possible by a new technology that we had just, become familiar with.
The microphone.
No, we had one of those too.
Smarty
No, I thought
pants.
you were going to say, ISDN.
No, yeah.
No, actually it wasn't ISDN.
Okay.
The killer technology that made this possible was something called Federal Express.
Ah.
FedEx.
So what we sold television stations with the idea that you could FedEx us the scripts, direct over the phone. We would record on our end and FedEx you the tape back with a 2-day turnaround.
Wow.
And this was an astonishing concept to people.
Can you imagine taking 2 days to deliver your promos now?
See, this was before fax machines.
Yeah.
So that was like lightning compared
So
to...
you guys were like innovating.
We were in Denver, and the television stations in Denver were actually really hot. They looked like San Francisco or New York.
Right.
And right about that time, some consultants came in and were starting to take local television stations and really kick their production values up. Custom graphics and sets and music and, you know, that kind of thing. And most television stations had a, like an old staff announcer who was the guy that did waterbed commercials and maybe hosted the kiddie show on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
He was a busy guy.
Yeah, and he voiced their news promos, and he was not cutting it with the new production values.
Yeah.
So our sell was, we will voice your promos, you know. And the three of us had very different styles. If you wanted Ed, you would never think of me.
Right.
So we weren't really competitive in that way. And in short order, I had a bunch of television stations that I was doing. That got the attention of one of the agents at CESD here in LA. And they asked me to come back to town.
And you did.
And I did, and so that was really my big break.
Wow.
I guess you say.
That's cool, man. So it took a lot of guts to do what you guys did. I mean, it's like while you were doing what you were doing, you were kind of like making it up as you were going along.
Well,
right?
we were, and it was something that no one was doing. I was recording at home, and even my agent didn't understand what I was talking about. No, Beau. We go to studio.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm recording promos for television stations in my home.
Yeah.
No, that's not the way we do it. You know.
Wow.
Yeah. So for those people that don't know, they call it affiliates. That's you know.
Today
it's the
they're called affiliate
yes.
promos. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So that grew quite a bit, and you know, so I've been doing home studio stuff since the early '80s, and you know, most people are doing it that way now.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, you are definitely a maverick and a pioneer, and there's so many people watching that are trying to break into the business. And do you have any advice, words of wisdom, insight you'd want to share with them?
Well,
For how the business is today.
you really have to want to do this. I mean, you know, there are some ads out there on the internet. If you have a computer and a microphone, you know, you're going to be a voiceover star. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not.
Listen to Beau.
You know, I wish it was that easy, but it isn't. You really have to love this. You have to love it. You know, that's the main thing. And my chief tool has been I've just simply refused to go away. You know, every single day I sort of I start over at zero every day. I go, oh my God, I have to do it all again. How am I gonna? You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of do the, you know, until they get a restraining order, I'm just going to keep showing up.
Absolutely. And here's how
In a classy way.
Exactly.
You know, here's how the entertainment business is structured in Hollywood, and by Hollywood I don't mean the location, of course. I mean the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Wherever you happen to be. There's a door, okay, and it's locked. And you go knocking on this door, and you have to bang on this door, and you bang and you bang and you bang, and eventually somebody opens the door, but they look at you and they say, you think you can do this? And then they slam the door. Okay? Now, there are two ways to respond. One is, I guess I suck. I guess I'm terrible. I guess I should, you know, go into Amway. And then you slink off. The other way is, oh, so you guys think I can't do this, huh? Okay, we'll see about that. And people who respond like that are the people who eventually
Absolutely.
make it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you are living proof. I mean, you have been working.
Yeah.
Well,
God bless you.
That we'll see about that, and the belief that you can do this. If I would say this to anybody listening who is not yet in the business, if you see a television commercial, hear something on the radio, and you say, I can do that. I can, you know. Well, first of all, no, you can't. Yet. But keep that, because that is the thing that will fuel your fire.
Yes, that's a
Because
great
eventually
motivator, yes.
You will be there.
Exactly.
Now there's some stuff in the middle called acquiring the skills that you got to do. But that thing, that fire in the belly, is what will make you a success.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, check this out. I have a really cool question for you. Back then, when you were first starting out, you said that you had the radio accent, you know, and people could, like, you know. you lost that, right? Because you had to.
Right.
So today, what do you do today to stay with like current trends of what's happening out there?
Well, see, there are a lot of different ways to approach this work, and I have actually always approached it from imitating what I hear. And then figuring out once I have the sound, then I figure out what the internal processes are where I can kind of make it real. Now, a lot of the actors think that's really the backwards way to go. But that's just the way I've always done it. But the real thing about voiceover is that it isn't about your voice. It just isn't about your voice.
Yeah.
And you know, how many people are listening right now, listening to the podcast because somebody told them they had a great voice and then maybe they should do some research about this. Well, that's how many beautiful women do you know that are not starring in feature films, you know, because they don't have the skills, you know. So it really is a lot more about learning to express a point of view. It's acting. Voiceover is storytelling with a point of view. And, you know, there are specific techniques that you can learn, but that's the main thing.
I love that. Storytelling with a point of view. It's so perfect.
It is.
You're brilliant, Beau.
I am brilliant, except that I stole it. That's it. Thank you, Maurice Tobias.
Maurice Tobias,
who is one of the preeminent coaches in this field. And that's another little something that I'd like to say. Coaching is not just for beginners.
Absolutely.
I find that as more and more of us are working on our own, isolated in our little holes, it's more important than ever. Used to be we'd do most of our auditioning in our agent's office where we would get directed by someone, or we were in studios where we were getting direct input from the client. Well, when it's all done from inside my own head, I can direct myself into a ditch and around in a circle really, really quickly. And so it becomes more important than ever to have someone to listen and from the outside say, hey, how about if you did this? You know?
Yeah.
And every year I pick 2 or 3 of the coaches that I think are good and spend some time with them. And I think it's important for everyone.
It is so important, and it's great for you to share that, because I think a lot of people perceive, oh, you've made it, and so you're done. And I think it's great to know that people like you and you know, Scott Rummel and Joseph, all those guys in the promo world, they are actively honing their skills, and they can't just rest on their laurels.
No, you can only take yourself to where you already are. You know, that's it. And now, if you were an athlete of some sort, now I was born without the sports gene, so I gotta warn you, I'm about.
So was Chuck.
I'm going to try to make kind of a sports metaphor here. I may screw this all
Go
up.
slowly, because I have to explain them to Chuck.
yes, he's going to translate.
You know, it's just that if you were an athlete, if you were a cyclist, and you met Lance Armstrong at a party or something, and you know, and you say, oh, I ride, I cycle a little too. He said, oh, great. And I'm thinking about, training for the Olympics. Lance would probably say, fantastic, who's your coach?
Yeah.
And you say, oh, well, I'm
self-taught.
I'm kind of working on my own. He would
sister.
immediately go, dilettante, wannabe. Because nobody serious, no serious athlete works
goes
solo,
it alone. Yeah.
you know?
Is going to compete without any training.
Yeah.
Good point, man. Really nice. Even I understand that. I don't know.
Very good. See, Chuck?
I love it.
The bicycle's the 2-wheel.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Here, I got a question for you. You're on the board. We just did this huge show on Don Lafontaine at the Voiceover Lab,
yeah.
and you're on the board at the Don Lafontaine Voiceover Lab. What do you think? What is it what's so important to you to keep that Don's pass it forward philosophy going?
Oh man, Don was an amazing talent. I mean, and it had nothing to do with his voice either.
Yeah.
It was just sheer artistry that had nothing to do with the power of the pipes. And he was just so smart, man. He was just and so much of his work was full of such subtlety and shadings, and man, he was amazing. But the most amazing thing about him was his spirit, his openness, his inclusiveness, his generosity. And this is a business that has been up to a few years ago, when Don passed and took his light into another room, and a bunch of his friends said, we want to keep that aspect of his character alive. something shifted, and you are seeing a lot more people doing things like you guys are doing, which is sharing, which is including, inviting. And that's how Don was.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Don take a guy who was a fairly new talent, who was being used at NBC on some of the stuff Don was doing, you know. It was kind of a new guy who'd gotten a really, really big break, and there he was at NBC, and he was a little, I don't know, a little paranoid, he was a little insecure. I saw Don, well, you know, they scheduled him back-to-back with Don, and so he walks into the room, and all the engineers are kind of going, uh-oh, how's this going to go?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Don goes, gives him a big hug. Hey, man, I heard your stuff. You sound fantastic. Listen, you know, have you met so-and-so who's the head of on-air promo? Let me take you up to his office. I want to introduce you to him. Man, he didn't have to do that. You know?
Yeah.
But that's everybody in town has got a story like that of Don sharing.
Yeah.
And some people say, well, you know, he works so much that maybe he could afford to. And dude, nobody has. If you have any idea the amount Don worked, you know, a lot of us, when we realized how much Don was working, we got a little jealous.
Yeah.
You know, you couldn't help it. Remember running into him at Woodholly one morning, and it was like 9 in the morning. We're at the coffee machine. I say, so Don, is this your first gig of the morning? And he goes, it's his 5th gig of the morning at 9 o'clock in the morning. You know, but all you had to do was get to know the guy just a little bit.
Yeah.
And you go, oh.
And you couldn't, you had to give it to him.
I
You couldn't
get it.
be-
This
yeah.
guy deserves all of this,
Yeah.
you know, and more.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Well,
Makes
it's great
sense.
that you're a part of that, and it was so wonderful because we've heard the story a few times
Yeah.
about how the phone calls were made and everyone just rallied and said, what can I do, how can I help? And so I think it's a statement on all of you,
Right.
in that, especially in the promo genre, that you guys just really are very generous. And I know we've talked to people that know you and or have been touched by you somehow, and you kind of got that going on too, Beau.
Well,
people say that you're just so generous, and you're in chat rooms and you're just giving people tips and tricks and advice, and it's huge. It's great.
Well,
that you're not
just,
coveting that.
you know, you got to let it flow through you, and that's
Yeah.
the example that Don set.
Yeah.
And you know, there are other guys who were in the pantheon of promo and trailer greats who have gone on to their reward over the last few years, and they did not inspire this kind of love
Yeah.
and loyalty.
Yeah.
And they were great guys. I miss them, and they were monster talents. But Don, there's just you know.
Yeah.
There won't be another Don.
Can't touch this.
No.
No. All right.
So you, the word on the street is you are quite the savvy entrepreneur and promoter.
Tell us
Would
a
you
little
like
bit about
to
that, Beau.
refute that
We can
or
talk
support
about
that?
That's an old reputation that was certainly true when I first got to town. I learned a technique when I was actually in Denver. I went to a seminar put on by my agent, and boy, I've been in the studio all day. I'm still a little dry from all that talking.
Yes.
Whiskey.
They put a seminar on run by a guy who was a commercial producer, and he said, I'm going to give you guys a technique, a little sales tool that 2 of you in this room, I don't know, there may be 300 people there. He said 2 of you in this room will use this, and it will make you $1 million. But all of the rest of you are going to write down in your notebooks, hey, this is a great idea, and you won't do it. 2 of you will, you know, and you will write me and thank me, and maybe send me an expensive bottle of champagne.
Yeah.
And the technique was promotional postcards. And they, you know, you guys have some little 3x5 cards. I hate to break the fourth wall, but they got their notes on me.
Yes.
So, you know,
We're prepared.
postcards like this. And some of them were humorous. Some of them were, you know, announcing something that I'd done. But I would send them out every 3 to 6 weeks, you know. And for years I did this. And it really, really worked. Now, a business letter, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
That's an intrusion. A phone call to a producer or an advertising agency creative director, no, you may not do this, boys and girls. You can't, you know.
Yeah.
But the postcard was not an intrusion. Oh, an email? No, do not do this. Spam, they will hate you. They will remember you and hate you.
They will remember you
but
and hate
the
you.
postcard did, you're going through your mail,
Yeah.
okay. Circular, circular, circular. Oh, Chuck Duran, oh yeah. Okay, toss. And then I would send the same postcard again a week later. So they're going through their mail and, that guy, So then your name comes up on a casting and they're going, Chuck Duran, oh yeah, I know that guy.
The postcard guy.
Yeah,
Let's use him.
But they don't think it's the postcard guy. And a lot of people saw that I was spending a lot of money sending out demos and postcards and mailings and all kinds of things. And I did a lot of little promotional things that were kind of fun. I did contests,
Contests with the agencies, or
No,
Win
contests
dinner
with the
with you,
producers.
or what was
like one
the contest?
One thing
Dinner with
I
Bowie.
said, you can win a Sony Video Walkman just by listening to this voiceover demo and answering these 3 questions about what's on its contents. You write it down, send it in, we have a drawing, you win the thing. Stuff like that. And various people would say, well, wait a minute, that cost you a lot of money, didn't it? I spent some money, yeah. Well, how many jobs did you get from that? I'm not looking at it that way.
Yeah.
It is long-term seed planting, long-term. And you don't know which ones are going to come up. Sometimes it's a really long time.
Yeah.
I had a guy call me one night at home about 10 o'clock at night. And he said, Beau, I'm so-and-so. And I said, oh, yeah, I know your name. And he said, yeah, listen, I hate to bother you at home. I said, no, it's okay. He said, listen, I've been getting promotional crap from you in the mail for how long? And I said, well, probably about 17 years. He said, yeah, and I hate to say, I've never listened to any of that stuff you sent me. But we're moving offices tonight, and I have all this crap out in the hall piled up, a bunch of stuff to throw away. And the client hated the voice I put on a thing tonight, and I got to replace a guy right away. And I looked out in the hall, and there was your demo sitting out in the trash pile.
in the trash pile.
Oh my gosh.
And I was desperate, so I listened to it. And you know what? You're perfect for this thing. Is there any way you could do this? So you never know when one of those seeds is gonna come.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool, man. Wow, we having fun or what? Unfortunately, we just ran out of time. Be sure and tune in next week for part 2 with Beau Weaver. We're going to Beau's house. We're going to show you his studio and where he creates his magic. Don't miss out.
Between now and then, go to VOBuzzWeekly.com and send us your raves. Also, find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest at VOBuzzWeekly. Take care until next time, you guys, and just remember, you always have time for a little buzz.